As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the week?
Well, timing is a hell of a thing. And, the Detroit Lions coming off their best performance in a long time. Jared Goff up to for that contract extension. And, the numbers, Gabe, talking 50 million ballpark for per season for Jared Goff. The timing, outstanding.
I I don't know Jared Goff at all. I don't think I've even ever met the guy. I find him very likable,
Mm-hmm.
and he's done a really good job ever since he got there.
Yep. Quietly, which I think is like somewhat of a good thing. It doesn't feel like Detroit's success is completely tied to the quarterback position like a lot of teams are.
It it feels like they've done a really nice job of building at the line of scrimmage,
Mm-hmm.
which when Dan Campbell is running things
Soccer.
should not surprise anyone. But he has been, and I hate that game manager has turned into a term that has negative connotation somehow, but he's turned into a tremendous game manager for them.
Yeah. No, I think so. And man, here's the thing. It it is not a level playing field. Some quarterbacks look great, some quarterbacks don't look great. Usually the difference between the two is more about how good their offensive line is than how good their actual skill at the quarterback position is. Like if everyone in the league played behind the same offensive line, you'd probably be shocked at how good some of these quarterbacks actually are.
Yeah. He's in his last year of his deal now. So you got to assume that they would want to get this thing done before training camp. And I do want I do wonder what the number is going to be. It's going to be a big number, but will it be big but not too big? Like, do I think Jared Goff should be one of the top three highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL? No, I don't. I don't think he's that type of player, but the market is the market. I don't know, Ted.
Here's
Hope
yeah, here's how you got to look at it though. He might be one of the top 3 highest paid quarterbacks in the league today, but a year, 2, 3 down the line, whenever you're in the middle of that contract, he'll probably be outside the top 10.
right.
So that it's just kind of like this constantly evolving number that goes up, up, up every year. And while I know it hurts now, and who knows if the salary cap number is going to continue to jump? I don't think it's going to jump like it did this year, but if the revenue's coming in the way it is, and that trend line continues, well, then it doesn't matter how much you pay him.
I He's only due 27 million in 2024. So I my prediction is that it'll be somewhere in the $43 million range. That's my official prediction, which is going
43.
to look like a lot. But like you're saying, once these other quarterbacks that are better than Goff redo their deals, it's not going to look insane. He's going to be making, my guess is that 2 years from now, there's going to be guys that are making more than $10 million or $10 million more than him with their new
Yeah.
contract. So we'll
And
see. But
at some point, it really turns into it's just like a what measuring contest, because like 45 or 50 million dollars, like okay, we're like I know it's $5 million, but whenever you start to look at the percentages, is it all that big of a deal? In fact, like
his
I would
agent
be,
would say yes, it's a
yeah.
massive deal.
Well, that's the problem, is everyone around you is like, you got to get what you're worth, and you need to make sure that you're compensated fairly. Like if I'm in his position, I'm like, I want to get mine, but I'd like to have a ton of money to throw at a tackle or at a guard. or at another, a big time wide receiver, or maybe we need another interior defensive lineman. I mean, ultimately, that's going to give you more staying power than another $8 million on your contract.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. All right, who do you have as your loser of the week?
Well, I had to go with Golden State.
Mm.
They got punched out, and which, I guess it's not that big of a surprise to everyone, but you know, they're aging really quickly. It feels like yesterday they were like the young new team in the league, and they're aging really quickly, and they've got some massive contract numbers. And Klay Thompson's up, and it didn't end well for him. He had a solid year, but
Didn't
was
end
0 for
well.
10,
He didn't hit a shot.
scoreless.
It was a winner go home game, and Klay Thompson had 0 points.
And what may end up being his last game as a Golden State Warrior. Now, Steve Kerr, after the game, says, we need him back. We want him back. And I expect that to be the conversation. But, it's easy to say that now until everyone starts to talk those contract numbers. And there's going to be teams out there that are throwing really impressive deals at him. And it's going to be hard, I imagine, for Golden State to get there.
Yeah. If he wants to make the most money he can, then Golden State is not where he'll be next season. But I don't know. I hope they figure it out. I know that I feel a certain way about Klay Thompson. Like, we all still have that game 6 in our minds. We'll probably never get over it, but I find him pretty likable. And I'm always rooting for guys that have a serious legacy to just finish it out where they've been. I don't know. It would just seem weird seeing Klay Thompson in another uniform, but they're going to ask him to take a discount deal. I mean, you look at their cap situation, they paid so much money in luxury tax to not even make the playoffs this year. It's insane.
Yeah.
But I think it was like $170 million or just something crazy. It's something crazy. But I want him to stay in Golden State. I just don't know if it's hard to tell a guy, hey, you need to take way less when he's done what he's done for that organization.
Yeah. And there may be people that still have some hate hanging on because of that performance you mentioned to game 6, which I totally understand. But here's the thing. I want him to stay in Golden State so we can all we need to channel it's easier to channel all that injury or anger at the same place. Stay at Golden State so we can all still kind of hate Golden State together.
I'm with you. That sounds fantastic to me, but yeah, that game was an absolute dud. I turned to my wife at the end of the third quarter. I said, "This thing is over. Let's watch a show."
Yeah.
So it's weird. It kind of felt like the
frustrating.
end.
I know it's a different deal, but just to say quickly, the end of the Pelicans-Lakers game was building up to be amazing until Zion went down. Which it was still good after that, but
would you calm down? Wait till we get to my loser.
Oh, God,
what are you doing?
What am I, an idiot?
But yeah, I don't think any of our I wasn't heartbroken to see the Warriors go out like that.
Yeah.
All the people that were scared to get the Warriors in the first round, I was the one going, no. Bring them on. They're old. Like, they're old and they cannot run with the Thunder right now. I don't think so. I get it. Steph Curry is just a terrifying player to play against, but I would have loved that series. That would have been awesome. But
just how things go. He would not have been 0 for 10 against the Thunder. That's just like he would have had one of those ridiculous games. It's like, oh my God, Klay Thompson's coming back. He's back, baby. Unbelievable.
Let's get to my winner and loser. But first, attention business owners, you need Insurica in your life. Insurica is one of the country's largest insurance brokers with 30 offices throughout Oklahoma, Texas, and the Southwest. Insurica is able to customize programs by accessing the latest information from many insurance carriers. They compare and contrast coverage offerings and pricing in order to design a cost-effective, comprehensive program to meet your business's specific needs. If your business partners with Insurica, you'll save huge amounts of money and take back control of your total cost of risk. If your business wants to be best in class, connect with Insurica at insurica.com. That's INSURICA.com.
And head to opolisclothing.com for our podcast merchandise and the best OU gear out there. That's OPOLIS clothing.com. Use promo code TED, TED for 10% off. That's opolisclothing.com. Use promo code TED for 10% off. Buttery soft and 10% off.
For my winner of the week, thought about going with Blake Griffin.
Oh,
big guy called it a career. He's the best. Was such a beast at OU. Won every Player of the Year award imaginable his sophomore year, including the Wooden Award. Took OU to the Elite Eight. Remember that awesome battle between them and North Carolina. Drafted first overall, and then just had an incredible 14-year career despite all the injuries. 6-time All-Star, 5 times All-NBA, legendary dunker, right? Legendary. And what he did on the court was incredible. But the best thing I can say about that dude is he treated me the exact same way once he was super famous as he did when we were teenagers.
What, he kept dunking on you?
He never dunked on me.
Okay.
Never dunked on me. Not once. I was not putting up with that. But I think success and fame can change a lot of people. And at least in my experience, it didn't change Blake at all. And that I think that just says so much about him as a person. And I saw this debate kind of taking place on Twitter. Hey, is he a Hall of Famer? He's got a hell of a resume, but maybe more importantly, Ted, everyone likes the guy, which is, I mean, he's just a fun guy to be around. So it made me sad to see him hang it up, but it also made me happy for him. Now he can really, really get his golf game more dialed in. Just really get it dialed in.
Yeah, he's, like you mentioned, legendary dunker. Oh, there was all these highlight reels, floating around yesterday, and just like, he is like my kind of player. That's exactly the type of basketball player I love. Like Dominique Wilkins, Sean Kemp, Blake Griffin, same thing, just trying to tear the rim off the backboard. Those years with the Clippers, Lob City, while we banged heads a lot, it was a lot of fun. And that was a good, intense little rivalry that we had going for a while. I just love, there are very few people that are super famous and are very comfortable laughing at themselves, and like everything that like you mentioned, how likable, is just the easiest going guy of all time. And it came across super confident and awesome. Nothing but respect for the guy. Hall of Famer in my book.
No doubt about it. Congrats on retirement, Blake. But my winner of the week, the WNBA's Indiana Fever. They've got Caitlin Clark, drafted her #1 overall in the WNBA draft on Monday night. Ted, their stadium was packed by fans just to watch the Jumbotron, to see Caitlin Clark get drafted. It changes the franchise drastically overnight. Clearly, she's going to have a large impact on the floor, and they've got some pieces, man. Aaliyah Boston, Alyssa Smith, Kelsey Mitchell, who was a WNBA All-Star last year. They haven't been to the playoffs since 2016, but they got some pieces now, and they're going to be really fun. But her impact on that franchise is going to be massive. But I think Caitlin Clark's impact on the WNBA, and it's not just her. I know it's not just her, but she's got a large role in it. I think her impact on the WNBA over the next couple of years, I think it's one of the most interesting stories in sports, Ted.
I know this is like on a different level, but she could have a like a Tiger Woods effect on the sport to where obviously you get a whole bunch more viewers. I mean, you don't, let's call it what it is. WNBA viewership is not great. You've got a whole different group of viewers that you're going to bring in that have not watched the WNBA, maybe have never seen a game, and you're going to get a massive influx of those people. And everyone in the league will probably eventually make a lot more money because of her, like what Tiger did to the purses in golf.
It could be kind of a combination between Tiger Woods and LeBron James. When you think about what LeBron did for Cleveland,
Mm-hmm.
and what he did for, kind of the NBA was popular, but it seemed to take a jump when in the anticipation of him coming into the league. And I know that LeBron was straight out of high school, but his last 2 years of high school games were on ESPN. Now, a lot more people were watching Caitlin Clark's games than LeBron's, but I don't know, it just feels that way to me, kind of like this media circus around it. But some of these numbers that Caitlin Clark has had a hand in from a viewership standpoint are just
insane.
I mean, they're shocking. You think about the number that the championship game did, but the WNBA draft averaged nearly 2.5 million viewers, peaked at 3.2. The previous record was 601,000 back in 2004.
Yeah.
Just massive, massive increases. And the Indiana Fever had one nationally televised game last year. They've got 36 this season. The Indiana Pacers, for comparison, had 6. I mean, her effect already is massive. I saw Michael Rubin, the CEO of Fanatics, said that she had the highest selling jersey on draft night of any athlete in any sport in Fanatics history.
Well, that's crazy. I'll say this too, and some people may disagree with this because there's a little nuance here. The WNBA has never had a superstar. They've had great, I'm not talking anything about skill level. They've had great players. There's been a bunch of great players that have stacked championships and accomplishments, but they've never had a player that is like a crossover superstar where everyone in the country knows who she is without a doubt. They've never had that. They've had people that are popular. Basketball people know who they are. You've heard my superstar test is if my wife knows who you are. My wife has no idea who Sue Bird is. My wife has no idea who Lisa Leslie is. None of those people, none of them. She knows exactly who Caitlin Clark is, and she's never watched basketball in her life. That's the type of star power you're talking about. They've never had that before, and it could have a dramatic impact, or it will have a dramatic impact on the league. And there's villains to go, which you got to have, like call it what you want. That dynamic with like some of the opposing players and stuff like that draws attention. People want to see it.
Nothing wrong with a little drama. And I hope the WNBA leans into that a bit. But I saw a lot of conversation about Caitlin Clark's contract. And as someone that has been able to look at a WNBA team's balance sheet before, this is what I'll say. If you want Caitlin Clark to make more money, buy season tickets, buy merchandise, and watch the games on television. Yeah, that's it. If you want those players to earn more money, because the WNBA is a business. It's a business. The salary structure is negotiated with the players union off of the revenue numbers. So if you want those women to make more money, which I certainly do, and a lot of people do, support the WNBA. That's it.
Yeah.
And to encourage all your friends to support the WNBA. And guess what? They will make more money. It's that simple, Ted.
Well, I've noticed that there is an inverse correlation between uh, the amount of complaining about uh, the WNBA salaries and the amount of hours of WNBA watched. The people doing the complaining do not watch WNBA. So, just like you said, if you want those numbers to go up, viewership has to go up, and it's about to.
Buy tickets, buy merchandise, watch the games on television. It's a simple formula.
There you go.
It's a simple formula. If more people do that, those women are going to make more money.
Yeah. The NFL salary cap didn't go through the roof this year because all of a sudden the owners said, I think these guys are worth more money. That's not how it works.
Or, you know what? I'd like to give them a bigger piece of what I'm supposed to have. Yeah,
Right.
no. It's a business. Simple formula. If you want them to make more money, more people need to watch, more people need to go to games. Simple. My loser of the week, Zion Williamson. Unstoppable. He was unstoppable in the playing game against the Lakers. 40 points, 11 rebounds, like 5 assists. Pelicans were coming strong in that comeback in the fourth quarter. That play, Smoothie King Sitter was going crazy. Just a ton of momentum. It felt like he was having, for the first time, a moment in his NBA career where we all were sitting on the couch and watching and going, this is everything we thought he could be. My God, look at this guy. What an athlete. We were all having that. And then he takes it to the rack, scores, makes it 95-95 with 3 minutes and 19 seconds to go in the game. Tweaks something. We never saw him emerge from the locker room. Lakers end up winning. Pelicans turned it over too much. Lakers did a nice job hitting free throws. Ted, we'll never know what the outcome would have been if Zion was out there. But, man, the Lakers had no answers for him. And him going out at that time with the way that he was playing, it just felt like the story of his career, man.
You saw the frustration boil over.
Yeah. He should have thrown a chair. Throwing the towel wasn't enough. He should have picked a chair up and just so people know he was really pissed. I felt for him, and, selfishly, we all got robbed of, I think, what was going to be like a play-in classic.
Yeah. I was shocked. Like, I think it was maybe a possession or two before he got hurt. He drove kind of from, just right of center and just went right around Anthony Davis to his left hand. And then, like, the ability to turn the corner, like, he was outside of the paint and then just went boom, like straight past him to the rim. You just don't see that. It was incredible. Change of direction and athleticism from that dude is just incredible. I feel for him, man. I hate that. He's obviously, it's been a rough battle. At some points, I think maybe he, to a degree, brought some of it on himself, but I know this time around he's put in a ton of work and he was in a really good place.
He's still too heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's pretty obvious. He's still too heavy. Every time I watch him play basketball, I'm like, that guy could have been a Hall of Fame 3 technique, and no one would say anything about his weight. Guy would have been an absolute nightmare to block. But the Lakers, it's probably best that the Lakers won for the Thunder, which is how I view every NBA game at this point in time. It's like, what is best for the Thunder? But with that type of game that he was having, I just wanted to see him finish it. man, and
Yeah.
just see how he performed under that pressure and in that situation. And as an NBA fan, it was just a bummer that we didn't get it.
Yeah, well, it's all we really want in all sports is to see the best players available and going at it at the most critical times. I mean, that's what you want.
Win or go home for the Pelicans on Friday. And I just don't expect I until I see him out there on the court, I'm not going to expect him to play. That's just kind of been his career. He just hadn't been able to stay healthy.
Yep. No, I agree. Hmm.
Bummer.